have a Techno Arms MAG-7 now. US civilian import version, magazine feed and a pistol grip. In order to make that work, they had to use shortened shot shells. Now, because this gun would pretty much non-existent after the late 90s, you can't really find the Techno Arms ammunition anymore. These are 2 1/4 shells, which is just about 0.07 inches off of the Techno Arms manufactured ammunition. I want to see if I can get this, would essentially equate to a meme of a shotgun, to actually cycle. Let's try firing this thing. This thing should only have an effective range of a little over 40 meters. So we're talking about half its effective range right now. It's got a decent magazine release, a little lever here. This guy's got a safety lever. This safety lever not only binds the trigger up, but it keeps you from pulling down the pump release. There goes nothing. It sure chambered. Fire in the hole, I guess. And now the moment of truth. Let's try it again. For all 5 other people out there in the world that own a MAG-7 like I do, guess what? There is a commercially available ammunition that you can fire from this thing. This is NSI Mini Buck. It is still in production, kind of hard to get, but obviously not nearly as monumentally difficult to possess as Techno Arms' original manufactured ammunition. You can find these guys, you know, on Gunbroker and other websites being sold in bulk. It is expensive, it's about $1 a shell, but it's pretty cool. It's a double-aught buck, 6 pellet, just 2 1/4 inch shell. The Techno Arms MAG-7, it's a competent shotgun because it's got a considerable amount of weight to it. It weighs about 8 pounds. Now, I suspect that a lot of that is the barrel. Now that I know I can cycle this and correctly, you know, use it with commercial grade ammunition, I am very, very likely going to Form 1 this. The pistol grip, as big as it is, it really doesn't feel that awkward when you're firing it. Maybe it would if it was a harder kicking gun. I love this thing. I think it is the weirdest shotgun I will ever fire, and I own it now, which is kind of cool. But on top of that, like, it's just so unique. I've never seen anything like it, and I think it's good reason why there'll never be anything like it again. Full power 12 gauge can be a little overkill. And that was kind of their reasoning behind this whole system, was they said, well, you know, in indoors where this would be used without the stock in its original configuration, you don't really need a full power 12 gauge, but you still want to have that kind of ballistics of a 12 gauge with a nice easy spread, and the ability to, you know, or point towards the target rather than aim. I'm going to show you what happens when they rush B. Mag dump with the MAG-7. I never thought I would say that sentence. Go. That's awesome. It is not a piece of shit shotgun. Ian McCollum already came to this conclusion when he did his follow-up video in South Africa shooting his correct law enforcement model with correct Techno Arms ammunition. Obviously it has its quirks. It's definitely not as viable in a traditional sense as a standard pump action shotgun, but it was a cool little concept. But I feel like there should still be a market for this short ammunition and these shorter magazines. I'm glad NSI is probably inadvertently keeping the MAG-7 alive. That is so cool. Still feels weird doing that. You can also actuate the safety lever from the other side with this little guy. It is very stiff. Whoa! Oh my god, I had a misfeed. See if I can get it tight so you can still go in there. Yeah, it bent the crimping just the littlest tiniest bit. I'm me see if I can. All right, got the chamber. I'm gonna fire this one without the magazine in it. Well, actually, we'll see if it has a magazine disconnect. I doubt it. No magazine disconnect. Yep. I don't know if that was a problem with the crimping before. I'm assuming, I have noticed that sometimes these rounds have a little bit of, yeah, like this one. The crimping isn't always like the most super duper ultra even. No problems with this one. We'll push on. Oh, that one was a little stiff, but I got it. All right, still able to fire the shot shell, so I'm satisfied with that. I think that that was just the variability of shot shell ammo, and like I said, the fact that this is 0.07 inches off spec, just a little bit enough that you might get an occasional hiccup like that. At least with correct ammunition, is actually pretty damn awesome. I always keep my finger when not in the trigger well up here. So I never have the issues of the jamming of the finger. I know Ian McCollum specifically said that pumping this guy, because he usually keeps it on the front of the trigger guard, that is a very real thing. You're gonna slam, you're gonna hit the tip of your finger with this guy, because the pump, as you can see, actually goes a little tiny bit, about maybe a quarter of an inch over the trigger guard. I'm gonna definitely do more shooting with this, maybe more video if people want it. So before I leave, I'm going to try one magazine of the Georgia-made shells. Now these were not built custom made for the MAG-7 clearly. They're just built to be vintage style shot shells at 2 inches. Yeah, Vintager 25 shells by Polywad. Now I did get them to cycle, just practicing earlier. We'll see if they actually fire. Am I on fire? Now I'm on fire. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, come on. Come on. I'm just gonna let that stay out. I don't know if it was that specific shell or just a sign of things to come. But that hasn't happened before. That one chambered just fine. No issues? No issues? Oh, damn. All right. So, looks like, yeah, the 2-inch shells. I'm sure these run better than Aguilas, but still, you just got a little bit too much gappiness there. You saw that it didn't quite fully eject out that shell, and because it was already in the middle of feeding the next shell, it threw at that shell, and then the magazine released the shell from the feed lips, and it just kind of popped out. Will it work with 2-inch shells? Yes. Will it work well with 2-inch shells? No. Definitely gonna stick to the Noble Sport. They seem to be the solid, consistent, well, almost entirely consistent shells in commercial production. That will wrap it up for today. MAG-7 is a surprising win.